Thank you. It has been a very amazing roller coaster journey being married. Like, marriage is no joke. And I've learned so much, and just utilizing relationships as a spiritual practice. That is my favorite spiritual practice. I realized after I graduated that the whole world had changed around me. I was attracting completely different people, completely different experiences. And I remember thinking, wow, everybody must be doing this work that I've been doing because everybody's different. And I'm like, something inside me answered and said, no, you've been doing all this work inside. You've been doing all this inner work, and you're attracting differently. I felt like my testimony expanded to no longer fit in the box. And I had to just follow my heart. The heart remembers everything. The heart has its own nervous system. The heart is the very first thing that develops in a fetus, and it is like its own memory system. It has its own gray matter, and we're trusting that the heart remembers all things, even if we can't consciously remember. Just letting my light shine is actually the most healing thing I can do for people.
All right, welcome back to the Tim Teaches podcast. I'm your host, Tim McCoy. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of welcoming a very special guest, my sister-in-law, Jayna Koskie. Jayna is here to share about her life, music, sacred plant medicine, her healing journey, and the release of her new album. That's super exciting. Her music blends ethereal folk with new age soundscape. It emerges from deep wells of stillness, struggles, and sacred beauty, drawing inspiration from mystics like Rumi, Jesus, and Buddha. Her songs are more than medicine. They are living prayers coming out today. So I'm honored to have you here, Jayna. Thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait to jump into your journey. I'd like to say right off the bat, you are like the GOAT when it comes to healing in our family and friend circle. I mean, you're kind of the originator of what's been happening in my life and a lot of people's lives. And so without you kind of leading the charge on that, I would be living in a completely different world. So I appreciate it. All you do for us and our family, like you are healing people. And so that means the world to me.
You're making us both cry.
I was telling a story today, actually, to my friend Dave, and he asked who I was interviewing, and I'm like, oh, Jayna, she's like the originator of the, sacred medicine and healing. She's always got these, like, I don't want to call them woo-woo because they work. I'm like, dude, the first thing I remember about Jayna is I had this, like, wart on my finger for like 10 years, and I had it froze off, cut off, like, it just came back. And Jandy was like, oh, I'll ask my sister. She knows what to do. And so I was like, oh, okay. She's like, oh, she said, just put a little Melaleuca on it. I was like, dude, if I put a little Melaleuca on this thing and it goes away, I'll give her $100. And so it went away. So I still owe you $100. It never came back, which was unbelievable. How, well, I want you to introduce yourself, but how the hell do you even know about this stuff?
I'm glad you reminded me about that story, because I actually forget that is like a really good solution for warts. So thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's like, the best.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And thanks for being willing to try it.
Oh, for sure. I didn't believe in it. I'm just going to throw it out there. I was like, oh, please, putting a little oil on it. I go to the doctor. The doctors know what they're doing. They froze it off, and they put all this acid on it and cut it out. And dude, it just kept coming back. So unbelievable. So that was kind of my introduction to your healing powers.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for extending this invitation. You invited me like months ago, and I thought, ooh, that sounds kind of fun, but I just wasn't quite ready, I don't think. And so I just wanted to say thank you for you're inspiring to so many people. And like, it's so brave, of you to do this podcast. And it really is like so inspiring to me. And I just want you to know how grateful I am for you and your willingness to share in this way, and the opportunity to come on here and share my story. And yeah, it's a beautiful space that you hold. And I'm really grateful. Yeah. So
Thank you. I wouldn't be doing it without you, honestly, because I mean, literally this podcast was tied into my plant medicine journey, and I hope we can jump into that and talk about it a little bit. But and you literally led the charge on that. So without you, I wouldn't be here, and then you wouldn't be here today. So you helped yourself in the long run.
It's just a ripple effect. Like it's mind blowing to me. But yeah, I am a mom of 4 boys, ages ranging from 11 to 19, and been married to my sweet husband Earl for 23 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
So thank you. It has been a very amazing roller coaster journey being married. Like, marriage is no joke. And I've learned so much, and just utilizing relationships as a spiritual practice. That is my favorite spiritual practice. And when you have somebody in divine union that you can apply that to, and when you know how to look for those signs and symbols, like we've done so much healing just being in this relationship. And in my 20s, I was struggling a lot with like chronic health stuff. And I started kind of getting drawn to like those things like the essential oils and like homeopathics, and started feeling drawn to doing inner child work. So I went to the Institute of Healing Arts, which is in Linden, Utah. And it's a year-long certification course. And I also grew up very like religious in the Mormon religion. And I was just feeling really stuck for like my whole 20s. I was really depressed and really just feeling like I wasn't making progress spiritually. I just was not feeling like I was happy. And I was having all these chronic infections, and I was just dealing with just a lot of turmoil inside of me. And I felt drawn to this place. And I went there, experienced my first like integrative processing inner child work session. And it moved a giant mountain for me, just one session. And I just was like blown away. And I was so drawn to this modality that I decided to go to the school and certify to be an integrative processing facilitator. And so I graduated from there in 2011, I believe. And I couldn't help but notice that I learned like so much more about like the atonement, like, and how to really forgive and what forgiveness really is all about, and how it's more than just forgiving that person for doing something that offended me. It's like I'm forgiving the belief system that attracted that into my experience. And as I went through the school, I'm getting worked on the whole time. And I realized after I graduated that the whole world had changed around me. Mm-hmm. I was attracting completely different people, completely different experiences. And I remember thinking, wow, everybody must be doing this work that I've been doing, because everybody's different. And then like something inside me answered and said, no, you've been doing all this work inside. You've been doing all this inner work, and you're attracting differently. Mm-hmm. You're attracting completely differently. And it just blew my mind. And like I said, I learned way more about like the atonement and forgiveness than I ever learned at church. And I loved growing up in the church. I'm not going to say anything negative about the church. I loved growing up in it. And it really it served me well in the time that I was there. And it programmed me in ways that I needed to be programmed, so that I do that, programming and then unlearning and like figure out what is the truth for me. And so it's all beautiful and everything. But like after I experienced all of that, I started to realize that my whole like testimony was based on fear. Mm-hmm. And I recognized that. And I thought, well, I'm going to like intentionally go to like church from now on. I'm only going to do anything church related, and if I love it. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to rebuild my testimony on like love, and I'm going to try to just start at the bottom and work my way up and based off of love. And so I did that. And the more that I, followed that, tried to follow my heart in that, I really, honestly, I felt like my testimony expanded to no longer fit in the box. And I had to just follow my heart, and it led me out of the religion. And so I followed my heart, um, and so and then I started studying like homeopathics, and I've gotten a few certifications with that. So I'm very passionate about like, and those are based off of like attracts like and like cures like, and that's kind of how it is in relationships too. So I'm like really passionate about that whole concept and the law of attraction and all of that kind of stuff. And a little bit of background on my music. Like I started taking piano lessons when I was like 6 years old. And I was really, really, really shy, like as a child. And I started playing the guitar when I was like 15 because I got tired of trying to find the right piano teacher. We had moved, and then I couldn't find the piano teacher who felt really exciting to me. So I switched to the guitar. Just kind of a friend taught me how to play a few chords, and then I just picked it up, and I quickly learned that I was like able to write songs. Like this guitar was inspiring me to write songs, but I wouldn't like ever like never would I dare to share them, like it's like a piece of my soul, and like it's too scary. But when I started doing the inner child work, which was like when I was like 30, as I peeled off those outer layers, as I did that little by little, all of a sudden I started to have this desire to share my music. And I never, ever would have thought that I would have felt that way, because it's scary. It's scary it's really vulnerable,
Yeah.
And so
what is inner child work? I'm not familiar with what the process is like.
Mm-hmm. I love that question. It's basically like, I don't know if you're familiar with parts work.
Talk to me like I've never heard about it, because I've never heard about it.
Okay. And it's similar to like, there's a bunch of modalities out there like EMDR, heart work, the emotion code, like all of these, there's a lot of modalities out there that do like inner child work. Basically, what that is like going back in time to like, let's say I'm experiencing a trigger at present day, and I'm like trying to figure out what's really bothering me. And our first thought wants to go to like, who's bothering me like right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, but what inner child work teaches you to do is to kind of like go within and go back in time. Like, what are all the times I like in the past when I felt the same way that I feel now in this trigger? And you go all the way back to the earliest age you can remember. And
so is it like meditation, or are you work more of a counseling type thing? Are you laying down blindfolded type of thing?
There's so many ways to do it. So the way that I learned how to do it, if you want to know the way that I learned how to do it, the process that I learned it is kind of like a guided meditation. And like I said, it's called the integrative processing technique. And if there's anyone listening that's like not sure about plant medicines and like worried about going there, mm-hmm. I would say this integrative processing technique is so powerful. It's almost just like going through a plant medicine journey.
Yeah.
So powerful. Like it is guided meditation when I learned, and the facilitator uses something called muscle testing, where you just gather, it's a way of gathering information from the body. And it's like asking the body questions about what age we need to go to. And there is a way around that. Like if somebody's like, I don't want to get a muscle test on me, that's weird. Like we can just talk about it out loud and be like, what age are you feeling? What age is standing out to you as a child? And it's like, we're picking a specific age. And that is the age of, they call it, when I learned, they call it the age of decision. It's like the age of when I decided this limiting belief about myself, or it could be the age of when that limiting belief was activated by a trigger that happened, like a trauma or a wound that happened. And so you go to that age, and then the next part of the process is you really get into that age. You imagine being that age, and you're trusting the heart. The heart remembers everything. Like I might not consciously remember everything that happened at that age. Like sometimes we're going back in the baby years for people.
Wow.
We have to really just trust that the heart remembers everything. The heart has its own nervous system. The heart is the very first thing that develops in a fetus, and it is like its own memory system. It has its own gray matter, and we're trusting that the heart remembers all things, even if we can't consciously remember. So we're really going into this deep meditation and going into like trying to like feel into. And if you can't remember, it's like, what would be your best guess? Like, if you could just guess what you might have thought or felt or experienced in that. And then we go through this process of imagining these emotions. And well, first of all, feeling the emotions in the body, imagine them coming out into like a imaginary like shape and color, just to kind of put them into a container to kind of set aside. And then once we get through a bunch of emotions and kind of we're looking for identification of belief systems, releasing emotions, kind of putting these things aside in this imaginary container. And then once we get to a place, and we're also acknowledging generational patterns, that's really important, because if we can't like acknowledge that like a lot of the things that we're dealing with, a lot of the wounds in our life we inherited them from our parents, and it's not their fault and it's not our fault.
They inherited something and their parents inherit. It's just a never ending cycle.
Yeah. That is huge. That for my healing, if I wasn't able to get to that point where I was like, stop blaming parents, like, you know, like it's nobody's fault. Like we're all in this together. So that's a big part of it. And then like after we get to like this kind of a place where we feel like we've released all of that, and then we bring in a higher power, and it doesn't matter what religion you're or faith or belief system, because it could literally be the sunshine. Like if somebody wants to just call in the sun to be their higher power, that works too. And it's like, let's give all of those things to the higher power. We imagine them going into the white light, and then the white light just dissipates it all. And I like to tell people, imagine that white light getting even bigger and brighter, because like white light is made of all the colors of the rainbow. So if we give it more color or all that, it just brightens the white light and transmutes it into like beauty. And then there's a gift that's received from the higher power. And then there's a little bit of like role play, kind of putting yourself into the shoes of the person who may have caused the trauma for you, and then just integrating that younger age up into your present day. That's kind of how that entire process I learned looks like. If that's it in a nutshell. Let me know.
I mean, I've never heard about it. So it's very similar to like it's kind of a guided meditation / therapy session, and which is awesome. A lot of people, including myself, I mean, I've never done any kind of like guided therapy, you know, which, but except for plant medicine, and then you're being guided by, you know, Mother Ayahuasca, which is a whole different part of this conversation that we're going to have. So was it kind of that experience that at what point did you go, okay, enough's enough. I have this talent. I want to share this with the world. I know I'm scared or nervous or don't want to be judged or whatever, or all those things that we feel. How did you get to the point where you're like, you know what? I have this talent. I need to share it with the world, and I'm going to do that.
Oh, I love that question, because like that hasn't been an easy journey for me. I can't tell you how many times I've wished that desire to go away because I am like, my zodiac sun is in Cancer, and I like to hide in like the Cancer is, you know, represented by the crab in its shell. And I just really like hiding in my little shell. And there's just been like, ever since I really started doing all this inner work, I cannot ignore this. It's like this obsessive thing inside of me that wants to share the music. And I'm like, but why? Like, why do I have to do it? I don't want to do it. It's too scary. I've wished so many times that it was a different thing that I wanted to do, but like, I can't help it. I don't know. There's just something inside of me that like has to.
Because you have a gift, and I mean, like I said at the beginning of this conversation, like you are healing people. I don't think maybe you realize it, but I don't know if you realize how much, because I mean, just the ripple effect of your you're being willing to step outside of the norm and outside of your comfort zone and do all of these things have affected my life, my family, my friends' friends, and on down the line. And it literally started with you. And I don't know if you grasp the concept of how big that is. It's amazing, you know.
Oh,
And so,
I thank you for seeing me. Like, it hasn't been the easiest to catch like it. I did feel kind of alone in it for a long time, and it was really hard for a long
you
time.
brought everybody in, because I will tell you, like from the outside looking in as a newcomer into the family, because you are my sister-in-law, like I'm like, yeah, Jayna's cool. I like her, but she's a little woo, and like I'm just this dumb military guy, and now all of a sudden I'm helping all these military people and all these other, first responders and veterans and stuff because of you. Like it's crazy to me, like it's so
It's crazy.
it's weird how the world works, man. And
I know.
yeah, everything is brought into our life, and you were brought into my life through Jandy, my beautiful wife.
She
You
is
know, but it's crazy.
like,
I like to think about we're on this crazy cosmic journey, and we're all these souls that are on it. I feel like we are on this journey, and we go, okay, guys, let's go. We all go to Earth, and then we meet up and have all these weird connections and find each other in our spiritual life. But I feel like we're all spiritual, partners.
soul family.
Soul family. That's the word I'm digging for. See, thanks.
Yeah. And I wanted to say one more thing about that question you had, because I've always felt really drawn into like the healing realm. Like I want to help people heal. But like, there's been this message that's come to me in multiple ways, shapes, and forms that like just letting my light shine is actually the most healing thing I can do for people. Just letting my light shine. And like, it hit me hard a few times actually, just hearing that message. And actually, like, that is what grandmother ayahuasca showed me. That was like one of the hugest messages that I downloaded from that beautiful medicine. Was that is my purpose. That is my purpose, to literally, and I can go into more into the story of that, but I just wanted to kind of share that's kind of what has really brought me into more willingness to step into the role of being a musician, and like really putting myself out there with the music. Was like, just letting your light shine is actually the most healing thing you can do for other people.
And that's, you're right on point, because it's like you could try to convince somebody all day long to no, try this or change, but nobody's going to change unless they want to. And what makes me want to change is to see the people around me who are doing the work and getting better and improving their lives. And so just by being your true authentic self and letting your light shine and putting music out and not, being fearless, not, we all have our fears, but you're standing up to them, and you're facing them head on, and you're conquering them. And that's amazing work. And so I do want to hear about your plant medicine experience, because the first bit of work you did was kind of, I don't know, not plant medicine. It's more oils, essential oils, and natural path type healing. What I guess plant medicine is natural path in a way, but it's a totally different, I would assume. Can you kind of speak to me about the difference between plant medicine and a natural path type medicine?
I mean, plant medicine, I would consider it like a tincture. It's like a really potent herbal tincture, So it's like an herb, like you're drinking a really potent herbal tincture.
I'm just going to throw it out there. When's the first time you did psychedelics, and was it for recreational purposes, or was it for, going on a guided spiritual journey?
Okay. Yeah. So let's see. After Earl and I mutually decided like we were done with religion,
Mm-hmm.
we did start to get curious about like mushrooms and that kind of thing. And I was talking to someone and she clued me in on this ayahuasca thing, and I'd never heard of it. And she just said, keep it on your radar. It'll invite you in, and then she like read it. She's like kind of a medium, and she like read into Earl's energy, and she was like, wow, Earl's like, he's got like this shaman energy about him. She's like, yeah, I think you guys are going to be really drawn to ayahuasca, but just let it call to you. It'll call to you when it's ready to. And then like around that same time, that was probably like in 2021 or 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember exactly when that was, but that's kind of when we started playing around with mushrooms a little bit. And we did a couple of journeys. And I think the first time we did it was recreational. We just did like a gram-ish. And, and I could feel like it bringing up some stuff, and took me on a little journey, but I couldn't really say that I loved it. Like I didn't love how it felt. And then I tried it again, just thinking like maybe you'll like it better next time, and did like a gram and a half and kind of had a similar experience. Like, and I remember thinking like, I feel like I could do the same kind of thing if I just go into one of my integrative processing techniques, like the sessions. And like, I just don't really love the way that felt. It lasts so long. And then I was clued in by a friend who was really familiar with mushrooms. And she was like, it sounds like you just need to go deeper with those. Like you're kind of in that in between. So I did eventually go deeper with them, and I had a much better experience with the way that it felt in my body. So I just wanted to say that. But so
what is a mushroom journey like? Because I've only taken a couple of microdose mushrooms. I've never gone full tilt or on a complete journey with mushrooms. You've done mushrooms and ayahuasca, so I'm curious, like your perception of the two and how they differ or are the same.
Okay. Yeah. And I was told by someone that they're similar. And I think that's true. They're similar. I don't know if I can explain the total difference. I don't know.
Just for you, as far as how it makes you feel,
okay,
or the type of journey.
For me, at this point, I would say I prefer a ayahuasca journey. I feel slightly a little bit more out of control in my body on mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's slightly more like ayahuasca can feel out of control too, for sure.
Okay, really?
But I feel like I can navigate with, I feel like I communicate better with the ayahuasca grandmother medicine, maybe a little bit better. And like the mushrooms are just like a little bit more chaotic, and
we're good. It saved it all.
awesome. Wow.
Yeah, thank goodness. So
Thank you, angels of love and May.
I wore this shirt. Relax. Hopefully, I don't know what that was all about, but for those of you watching, we had a power outage, and so we had to jump back on here. We got all of the episodes, so we're just gonna figure out how to splice it back together. We were talking about ayahuasca and kind of the difference between mushrooms and ayahuasca, and how it kind of affects you different. Do you want to chat a little bit about maybe your first ayahuasca experience, and or let's talk about your first, well, tell me about your first ayahuasca experience if you wouldn't mind, and then I do want to hear about your first Rhythmia experience, because that's a big part of everybody in our circle's life nowadays. So if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, so as I mentioned before, my friend had told me that the grandmother ayahuasca will invite you when you're ready for it, when she's ready for you. I don't know. And I ended up like I don't know, a year and a half after I had heard about it and just kind of had it on my radar, and I was not actively searching it out. I got an invitation to go from just a friend of mine who, not like even a very close friend, she just reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want to go to this? It's all women retreat, ayahuasca retreat, 2 nighs, on this ranch. And I was like, I'm going to have to say yes, because I've been told that this is coming. and to, to be open to it. And I'm going to say yes. And so I went, this was fall of 2022. And I was honestly, I'll be honest, I was really skeptical of it even working very good for me. Because like I shared, I had done so much inner child work by then. That was like, I had been in the inner child work stuff for like over a decade at that point. But I had been kind of hitting these walls. I was feeling like I could just keep doing inner child work, but I don't feel like I feel like what's the word? Like I've exhausted that resource. Like, I mean, of course, I'm always going to be doing inner work, but like doing those really deep processes, I felt like I wasn't making further progress anymore. And also I had a few different mushroom journeys, and wasn't that impressed with them because I hadn't gone very deep with that medicine. And I was told that ayahuasca was similar, and I was just like expecting it to be, I actually didn't even know what it was. Like me for you, I tend to jump into things without doing my research. And I thought ayahuasca was a type of a mushroom. And that's what I thought. I didn't even know what it was until after the retreat. I was like, oh, I just drank a vine and a plant that were merged together. Like I didn't even realize that's what it was. But yeah, so it was 2 nights. My first night, I actually hated it. I wanted to go home the next day. I just, all that happened was I felt sick, and I was kind of scared of puking, especially in the same room as like other people that were there. And I didn't want to puke. So every time I would sit up, I would just feel so sick, and I couldn't handle it. So I just would lay back down. It was just like, I felt like these sensations in my body. I had some downloads, and some of it was beautiful, but I was just sick. But I knew enough, like by then, because of all the inner child work that I've done, to be able to like take the takeaway with the grandmother is always like, or the question that you want to ask is, who have I become? Show me who I've become. And I knew enough from doing all this inner work to know that like I've become someone who is sick, and I'm sick of being sick. And like that next day, like as much as I wanted to live, I literally wanted to call an Uber and just get out of there. Like, just let me sneak away. I don't ever want to do that again. That was horrible. I didn't feel good in my body. But thanks to Jandy, he told me going in there, like, because like I said, I didn't do any research. I have no idea what I was getting myself into. She goes, I've heard that some people can have a really rough first night, but then they can have a beautiful second night. And so I was so glad she told me that, because I was hanging on to that little hope going into the second night. And so I went into the second night and I'm like, I'm here. I'm going to just go for it. And I got brave and I thought, I'm going to probably need to puke. And I even can go in the bathroom if I need to go in the bathroom and puke, like in my own space. If I want to do that, I can. And so I kind of just told myself that. And I go into the ceremony, and I had a total of two cups that night. And the first cup showed me, I was shown like this celestial surgery kind of a thing they call it. So sometimes when you're on this medicine, it can go in and like open up your body energetically and pull out like, just like toxic energy. Mm-hmm. And so I saw in my mind's eye, my heart was unzipped, and like all this black gunk was taken out of my heart. And then after all that was taken out, I saw my heart as like this beautiful, glowing crystal diamond. And it was the most beautiful thing. I was just like, wow, that's my heart. And then like, that was beautiful. And then I went up for the second cup, and the shaman, oh my gosh, he was like, do you trust me? Because he reads into my energy to ask how much medicine do I need. And he read in that I was going to take like a full cup. And he was like, do you trust me? And I remember saying yes, almost hesitantly. But I took that second cup, And that was some powerful, powerful, powerful medicine. I sat with that for a little bit. I did have to purge. I was able to be in the bathroom, and I was really grateful for being in the bathroom and having my first ayahuasca purge. Got through that, got back to my bed, and then I was just laying there, and like, I don't know how detailed you want me to go into this whole
Go. Let's see what you got. I want to hear it.
Oh, thank you for that permission. Because yeah. Okay. So what this medicine can do is it can use your environment to show you who you've become. I went into this whole experience where I was convinced that I was in a satanic ritual. I started because like going into this whole like retreat, I was under the impression that all of these people that were holding this beautiful space, they were all like Christ consciousness minded and like love and light and beauty. And like, I was so drawn to them and they're such beautiful humans. And I just was like, I felt so good about these people. But then in the ceremony, I was like, they tricked me. Like, I knew it. I knew that they tricked me. I knew that they were like, I was being initiated into the Illuminati. Like, I knew it. And I was seriously like terrified. And I was so deep in the medicine that I like couldn't move. I was just laying there still on my mat with my hands over my heart. And I remember just in all this fear, like and you can feel the medicine at a cellular level. It was like very deep into my cellular. I don't know how to explain it, but I could feel it like crawling in my like body. It didn't hurt. It's not like a painful and it doesn't feel horrible. It just feels very interesting. And you're just laying there, I'm feeling it. And I'm like, and repeating in my mind, I am love, I am light, I am love, I am light, I am love, I am light. And I'm just like, why isn't this working? Like, why am I feeling so like I'm about to not exist? Like, I was convinced that this medicine was about to take over my soul. Like, I thought I was no longer going to exist. My soul was being taken from me. And I thought I was going to turn into a robot. I thought I was going to be a robot after this. Anyway, that's at the point where I literally raised my hand. I wanted somebody to come help me because I thought I was, and like these thoughts were coming in like, you're being, like, I thought of being crucified. And like these thoughts of like in this world, innocence and purity gets crucified. That's what happens in this world. And like and all this religious stuff was coming up for me, like this fear of, I don't know, all these fears of being controlled by an organization, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, that's what came up and that's what I was being shown. And before that, I hadn't dove down all these rabbit holes. And I did have some fears around like that whole, like, maybe I shouldn't say that word, Illuminati. I don't know if that's YouTube can open that. No, but like, I had some fears around that kind of stuff, Anyway, I asked for the help. And then one of the beautiful like guides who was there, just like an angel, she happened to be walking by my mat right in that moment when I raised my hand. And so she just comes right over and grabs my hand. And I said, I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm being crucified and I don't know. She gave me her words of advice, which were, sometimes when we're feeling stuck and we don't know what to do, we just need to bring in some sort of movement with intention. And as she said that, I was like, that's stupid. Like, I'm not.
That's the worst advice ever.
How is that help me right now? How is that supposed to help me? I can't move. Like, but I was like, okay, I guess I can kind of move. So I started laying there and just letting my body do this. And I was moving now. I was moving my body and saying my intention. And as I did that, I actually noticed that I could see like something growing out of that crystal heart. There was a vine growing. As long as I was moving and intending, it was growing. But as soon as I would stop moving, I would start to feel that darkness come back in. And it started to take me back into that dark, scary place. And I just noticed that was happening. And so as long as I was moving and intending, that vine was growing. And then I finally like noticed the vine like came up. It like sprouted out the top of my head. And all of a sudden this giant like white flower bloomed out of the top of my head. And I was just sitting there like this, just like celebrating, like extending like all this love and light to everyone in the room. And I was being shown that that's my purpose. Like my purpose is literally just to let my light shine, extend love and light. And then what happened was kind of cool. Like in my experience, I don't know if this is really, what was really happening, but in my mind, because of me doing that and letting my light shine, and it lined up perfectly, of course, with the music. As soon as the song ended, that was when I bloomed. And then everybody started clapping. Like, me, like, I blew. And then, like, after that, all the women, it was all women, and they all started getting up and singing and dancing. And it was like, that's because I let my light shine and everybody, like, followed suit. And, like, it was just, like, this really cool the way it all came together. And like when you're in a ceremony like that, everyone really is like collaborating in their healing. Everyone's healing something different. Everyone's having their own experience, like, but somehow it all like it's just like the universe. Like we're all
Connect.
somehow like symbiotically interacting and mingling with each other, and it's crazy. Anyway, that was my first. If that is a good place to wrap that up. But yeah.
So you come home and you run into your husband, and how do you explain this, and how does he take it, and what's his path forward?
Yeah. So, I mean, he was excited about me going, and he had been doing his own research too, to kind of go to his own. After he found out I was going to one, he wanted to go to one too. And he had done a bunch of research. He's more of a researcher than me. So he had found the, place called Rhythmia down in Costa Rica. And I knew he was going to be going like a month later. And so it was kind of hard for me to really share. I should share it all with him. It was hard for me to really get into the share because I knew he was about to go experience it for himself. And like, once he experienced it, then we could really share,
Yeah.
But man, I have to say that after he went, he experienced like, I feel like, I don't want to call it a more profound healing or maybe deeper healing. Maybe he healed a lot more than I did in 1 week because I'm more of a slower progressing person. Like I'm doing inner child work for like a decade, and then I'm doing, and then like, he's just like, he goes and he just like, wait. And like, after he got home, and I really want to like share this because when you're married to someone for that long and you start doing deep inner work, it can rock the boat for a while. And it was so interesting because after he got back home, he had the most crazy experience, most crazy healing. And he comes home and I'm fully expecting to be like incredibly excited for him, incredibly like celebrating of him. And something really weird happened. I started to feel all this weird like grief. I had no idea what it was about, but I just started to feel all this weird grief coming up. And like, it literally made no sense to me. But since I know so much about like the subconscious and what we project and reflect back and forth in our relationships, I knew innately that I was grieving something that he healed that I was attached to. Like my ego was attached to something that he no longer had anymore. If that makes sense.
Totally.
And it kind of hurt his feelings because, and I remember telling him like, I don't know why I'm feeling this way, but I'm like really like struggling with my emotions. And like, I kind of was depressed after he got home. It was weird.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, it's kind of like a part of him. You die. I mean, you have an ego death during an ayahuasca experience, and you are kind of reborn. At least in my experience, I was reborn. And so when you come home a different person, and that can be shocking for your spouse. Even though you had done the work, he came home a little bit different person. So obviously you were grieving a little bit. How did that progress?
Yeah. So it it felt, I felt kind of stuck for a long time in that grace. And it was really, like, honestly, it was disturbing to both of us. Like, I was like, what is the matter with me? And so we both ended up going to Rhythmia together several months later. So this was spring of 2023. We both went. So that was my first experience at Rhythmia. And honestly, just like, and it was a beautiful, beautiful experience, by the way. Like, you kind of asked me to share my experience at Rhythmia. It was just gorgeous. Like, the whole week is just, I loved it. It is 4 nights. And like after I did the first one where it was only 2 nights, after the second night, I was like, glad that was the last night. And I don't know if I will do that again for a very long time. So going into doing it for 4 nights, I was really kind of nervous about it. And I was like, yeah, but it was a beautiful experience. But I think so the more that Earl and I have been walking this path together, like on the same path, like we finally got on like the same pathway together, and we've just been able to navigate, like, the plant medicines have showed us who we've become. We've been able to take more and more accountability, and like eventually we have been able to heal those old wounds and old programs that have been running since literally when we got married. Because when we got married, we were both really Mormon and really programmed into certain things. We both had these really unrealistic expectations towards each other. And it was really quite the journey to really undo all of that. That's a lot. It was a lot to unravel. And we even had like help with counselors and therapists. And I feel really great about where we're at now. It's like amazing how far we've come. But I'm like, I don't know how to answer that question as far as like what you said about how did you resolve it. It's really just from showing up.
Yeah.
Willing, in humility, learning about attachment styles. That's been a big thing for us. Like learning about each of how we show up in our attachment styles, and like just letting our guard down and showing up and holding space for each other.
Well, yeah. And so you guys did go to Rhythmia, and then obviously it had a profound impact on, I didn't really know anything about your experience. I knew your initial experience. I knew that you've always been into some healing stuff. So it's like, that wasn't a surprise to me, but like seeing your husband, Earl, I've known him for a long time, and to see him after Rhythmia, which I didn't even know he went or know anything about that experience. He definitely seemed like a different dude, I was like, what the heck happened to this guy? Because it was a profound shift from an outsider looking at him and you and your guys' relationship. You guys seem so close and more like you're on this healing path, but it's not just you're taking the world with you. Like, you're healing, you guys are both healing so many people. It's like I said earlier, it's incredible the work that you're doing. And you guys should be very, very proud of yourself. And
oh, thank you.
It is incredible. So at what point, you've done a handful of plant medicine ceremonies, and you decided to get into, you were into music, but to actually put it out there, what was kind of the driving force behind that? You have a new song coming out, and so
oh my gosh, you read my mind, because I was just about to try to say, like, because of the involvement with Rhythmia, like, this is so crazy. I've always dreamed of opening like a healing center because I'm so passionate about healing. And then Earl goes and gets buddied up with the owner and founder of Rhythmia. And then he gets an invitation to get to be on the board of directors there and be, part owner of it. I was like blown away. I'm like, the universe is like, here's your healing for me.
it's already set up for you.
I'm like, what? And then not only that, but like everybody there is so down to earth and so like inviting. They're like from day one, there's always been this open invitation for me to jump in and say, hey, can I share a song and in this class, or can I share a song in breathwork? Or it's like, yes, like please come on in and like let's hear it. And it's been like I love the people there. And but before Rhythmia, like before being so involved with it, I was really kind of like not sure what my genre was with the music. But then like as soon as like we got that invitation, I was like, oh my gosh, it's medicine music. Once I started getting in tune with like this medicine music vibe, all of a sudden I realized like this is my genre. My music is supposed to be medicine music. And that's why like I've been writing all these songs and like recording them and sharing them, but like don't really my passion for them kind of like comes and goes, and I don't really want to play those songs. But if I recreate them into like a medicine ceremony, like something you'd hear in any type of like, like a yoga class or whatever, that's where I started to feel that passion build back up inside of me of like getting excited about my music. Cause for a while before that, I was feeling like not excited about it anymore.
Yeah.
Cause I just wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't, but this whole Rhythmia thing reignited like this fire inside of me of like, this is the music that I was supposed to be creating. And then like, I hadn't found the right producer until like literally just a year ago. I had a producer reach out to me, and I had worked with him here and there, but not like a ton. But he reached out to me and was like, hey, I think I'm ready to like really commit to working on your songs. And I'm like, brilliant. Like perfect timing. Like I feel like last hatching out of this cocoon I was in for a very long time. And the right people started showing up. And then Earl, had this idea to work on a documentary for Rhythmia. And then we were there last July, we're filming for the documentary, and I was playing some prelude music for the breath work, and the film crew was there. And I don't remember if it was Earl's idea or if it was the film crew guy's idea, but somebody was like, we should put one of your songs into the documentary. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll see what definitely gonna like try to create a piece that's worthy of that, So I reached out to the producer and I'm like, hey, let's see what we can do. We've got a limited amount of time. Let's bust this out. And so this is, the wound. And this is, I feel like it's so good. Like, I can't even believe how amazing it turned out. And this beautiful flute player who came in and played like this gorgeous Native American flute. And I'm beyond excited to share it with the world. It's like, it's me, like the way that I see it is I'm just in service sharing this song. Like, I'm just like, here you go. Let's put it in, like, let it be part of our aura, like, and hopefully it'll be very healing for humanity.
I think it will. And hopefully I can get a copy of it to throw on top, maybe at the intro of this, this podcast. Man, what am I missing besides you're crushing it? And, I like, honestly, like you're, the GOAT, the greatest of all time when it comes to this.
Right back at you, Tim.
No, I mean it. It's incredible. Like you've changed lives and you're helping people, and you should be like, I want you to keep doing it though. Don't quit. Like keep grinding, keep putting out your music. And I love that you're doing medicine music, because like I used to listen to I listen to all kinds of music, but now I pretty much just listen to medicine music. Like most of the time. It's crazy. Yeah. My poor friends come around that aren't familiar, and they're like, this dude's lost his freaking mind, but it's amazing, and
Eatable.
If people want to find your music, how do they get a hold of it?
It'll be on like all the music platforms. I think This video will probably come out right after it's released. So it'll be on all music platforms under my name, Jayna Koskie.
Okay.
And my old songs that I worked on, those are all under Jayna Ray. Those are all still going to be there. But my new medicine music genre songs, I just decided to put under my actual name, Jayna Koskie. So that's where they'll be, just
Perfect.
on any music platform, all of them.
Right on. And then if people want to find you on social media or reach out and hire you to create some music for them, how do they do that?
It's just same thing, Jayna Koskie. Like, it's just at Jayna Koskie.
Perfect. What am I missing? I mean, we could talk about this stuff for forever. But
That was so fun. It's such fun conversation.
oh yeah, and man, I love what you're doing, and I love your spirit. You are a healer, and keep healing. And I hope that Earl does become a shaman someday, and you could be a shaman healing couple. I mean, you basically already are.
He's definitely my shaman. I have to say, like, in my last grandmother ceremony, he came soaring in as a king eagle, and he healed everybody in the room. And he was the most powerful shaman there. Like, he's a very powerful shaman energy, that man. And I'm so blessed and grateful to be partnered with him. And
oh my gosh, I'm so proud of both of you guys. If you're listening out there, please download and listen to Jayna's song, and I'm going to tag her and everything, and I'll put the links in the description and on the screen and everything, and hopefully we'll have this playing at the beginning of this episode, so you'll get to hear it right off the bat. Jayna, thank you so much for taking time to chat with me. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you, Tim. You're the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.